due this week, and the due date is Friday the 16th of August, so that's week 5 of next term. Now it's going to be due by 8 a.m. on Friday morning. So that means there will be boxes put outside the staff room and your assignment is to be submitted in that box, but I'll talk to you more about that in class. So just to go through the scaffold here, it's 30% of your grade, which is a really large chunk of your next semester's report. It's out of 30, so that's 1% for every mark that you're getting. So here are the outcomes that you're going to be assessed on, and you can take the time to read that yourself. The description of the task. So this task is asking you to design, to carry out, and to evaluate a science project of your own choosing. So that means you can actually choose any experiment that interests you. Now you have to follow the instructions on the document provided, and I'm going to go through that. Now it's your responsibility to make sure that you save your work correctly, back it up on an external hard drive. No excuses will be accepted for late submission or of non-submission of the task, especially because you've actually got 9 weeks to complete it. Now there are various modes of submission, and I would have spoken to you about this in class, but seeing as it's here, I'll go through with it. You can submit to me a written scientific report, just like you always have for other assignments. Minimum of 6 pages, a maximum of 10. You can turn it into an iMovie or any form of movie presentation. You don't have to use iMovie specifically. But if you are making a movie presentation, between 5 and 7 minutes. You can also present this to me on a keynote. We're looking for about 10 to 12 slides. Now, it's an approximate, depending on your situation, you may have more, you may have less. Make sure you stay in contact with me so that I know how you're going and I can give you a really good guide about how you're traveling. So here we have 8:30 a.m. Friday. So I know that we have class on Friday, but you're not submitting it to me during class, you're submitting it to me before 8:30 a.m. in the morning. So as soon as you get to school, you go, there will be the boxes and you can submit it there, but I'll talk again more about that in class. So let's go through the actual document itself. And that's this one. So the independent research project, again, the due date and the outcomes. So where do you start? Now, most successful research projects have some interest for you. Now, you would have already submitted to me your experiment proposal. So this is just to go through. Now, remember, I would have gone through this in class, but just again to reiterate, no explosives, nothing poisonous, nothing flammable. We don't want you to use your household electricity supply, which is 240 volts. It can be quite dangerous. And we don't want you to be cruel to animals. So as long as your experiment fits in with these things, you're likely to have approval. But hopefully by now you've already got your experiment in mind because you had that double period to get that done. So moving on, the time factor. Okay, you have 9 weeks to do this task, and I know you guys, and you tend to leave everything to the last minute. With this sort of experiment, it can't be done. So you would have seen on the website the schedule, the progression schedule. I want you to stick to that schedule. Now I've spaced everything out so it's not going to be a big drama to get things done. Please stick to that schedule. I'll be marking each of the bold items in class. If you don't have it that day, you're going to miss out on the marking, which means you're not going to give yourself full marks. It's very easy to get full marks in this assessment. And it's something that weighs 30%, you need the full marks. So here's a little note. Remember to allow extra time for disasters. It's the reason why I've suggested that you do your experiment during the holidays. Okay, it's 2 weeks just to do the experiment, just in case something breaks, something goes wrong, you can't get the things that you need, you've got 2 weeks to sort it out. And to be honest, it should only take you about half a day to actually do your experiment, depending. Some experiments might go longer over time, but on a whole, you should be able to have the whole thing done in half a day. So again, don't forget to talk to me. Hints, tips, clues, and assistance. So this is the scientific method. I've also put on our website a scaffold for you if you've forgotten that, but here are some other little tidbits about that. So presenting your project. This blue box here, lovely format. So whether you're making a paper model, a video, or a keynote, or any other form of multimedia, stick to this outline. So you're beginning with your research, your hypothesis, aim, method, variables, your risk assessment, different to safety, okay? Risk assessment. results, conclusion evaluation, and most importantly, your bibliography. Now, each of these highlights what each of the sections is, so take your time to read through that. Now, most important part, the marking criteria. Please pay attention to this criteria when you have your project finished. The really good idea, have your project completed next to you and go through each of these to make sure that they're present. So your research, that's your introduction. It's out of 2 marks. Okay, it's an easy 2 mark to get. Your hypothesis is out of 3. So really pay attention to how I describe how to write a hypothesis because it needs to be in the correct format. Anything less than that correct format drops you down to 2 or 1. An aim, clearly worded, you get a mark. Your variables, remember your independent and dependent variables, 1 mark each. Your method. Now your method needs to demonstrate scientific methods, so it must contain step-by-step sequences, minimum of 2 repetitions, which means you need to have performed your experiment twice. All the variables for a valid investigation need to be controlled. So the things that you need to keep the same in the experiment need to be the same. 4 marks. Okay, you've had a lot of practice writing methods, so this 4 marks, nice and easy for you to get. Your risk assessment, comprehensive risk assessment. So you have to think of everything that could possibly go wrong, and that's including paper cuts. Okay, even the simplest things, you've got to cover them for the risk assessment. If you've got everything covered, full 3 marks. Don't forget it also needs to fit the criteria. Your results. Now, as you see here, there are 3 types of results that we want. First up, photographic evidence of you conducting the experiment. Okay, we don't want to see hands. We don't want to see plain old results. We want to see your face with the experiment. So if that's you taking a selfie or you're getting someone else to take a photo for you, whatever it takes. 2, a table with the correct heading and the correct units. And 3, turning that table into a graph of results. Don't forget the scaling and the labeling. Now you can do that on computer and have it cut out and print on the paper form, or to show me pictures of it if you're doing a movie or something like that. It doesn't have to be hand-drawn, although feel free to do it hand-drawn if you want. Okay, that'll give you 4 marks for that section, and as you can see, as the quality goes down, the marks go down. Now, one thing I want to make really apparent to you, each of these criteria says that you must have photos and you must have a table. If you don't give me a table or you do not submit photo evidence of you performing the experiment, you get 0. Okay, I want to make that really, really clear. You must 100% have photographic evidence of you doing the experiment and even an attempt at a table for you to get a mark. If there's no photo evidence of you, it's a straight up 0, and you can have the most lovely table and the most lovely graph, but if there's no photographic evidence of you, you will get 0. Okay, so please remember that. The conclusion. So your conclusion is going to be based on your results. You're talking about trends and patterns. You're acknowledging them and explaining the language. So cause and effect. So if you've got that knuckled down, that should be about half a page in length. You're getting 4 marks. As the quality goes down, the mark goes down. So really important, again, to remember, just like the last one, trends and patterns, vital. Okay, if you just attempt something, you'll only get 1 mark. Okay, so focus on the cause and effect, the trends and patterns. Now we have the evaluation. Now that's an investigation with a discussion about the problems that she had. So don't just say, I didn't experience any problems, okay? Make them up. Say that you had a hard time gathering materials, maybe the weather was really bad and it might have affected the experiment. Think outside the box. If you're stumped on problems, come and see me. I'm excellent at making up problems. So acknowledge anything that needed to be changed. Now that even includes, I did it on white paper, now I'm going to do it on grey paper, okay? Any little tiny change from you changing the colour of the pen for whatever reason, okay? This is where it gets written about. How you can improve the experiment. Now, improve the experiment in terms to get better results. Now, this is about the reliability and the validity, and I would have spoken to you about that in class. So as you can see, 3 or 4 marks. And as the quality goes down, marks go down. Bibliography. Really, really important, guys. Use BibMe. I'll show you all about that. Really nice and simple. Now, minimum of 3 sources. Okay, that's vital. 3 sources. Please make them good sources. I'll die if I see Wikipedia or Wiki Answers or some other Googleable thing like that. Please stick to reliable resources. Don't forget the library's got stuff too. You can use YouTube by all means. Things like Vsauce, Mythbusters, they all count. That's a valid source, so you can definitely include those, and I can show you how to reference YouTube videos and episodes of Mythbusters if you want, okay? So definitely come and see me about that. And again, straight up 3 marks for having the 3 sources written in the correct way. And if you use BibMe, you're going to get the correct way. So then there's the total out of 30, okay? Definitely doable. Don't forget, guys, stick to the schedule and we're going to get you full marks.